Hi, it's Ileana here at Awakening Cosmic Reality Show, and today I have Kimberly Palm with me. Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I am very good, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for having me.
oh, thank you. You contacted me about your beautiful Ascension book that you recently wrote and published on Amazon. How was that for you?
The book, well, oh my gosh, well, it's going really well. I mean, a lot of people want me to sell it on my website, but it's just so impossible. I live out in the country somewhere, nowhere near a what do you want to call it, a post office. And so I chose Amazon to self-publish my book because people can order it from all over the world and I don't have to ship it to them. Like I have people ordering my book in Australia and in England and in Italy and France and all over the world, Germany. I have a bunch of clients in Germany and just everywhere. It's really awesome because it allows me to get the message of the Ascension information out to the world in such a wonderful way without me having to, ship all these people, hundreds of people, the books and stuff. So it's great.
Yeah, Amazon is amazing because anybody anywhere can buy it, so that's fantastic. So you get a wide exposure for your interesting book. So I'm just going to introduce you and read your bio.
Okay.
So Kimberly Palm is the author of the best-selling book, Ascension 101, A Roadmap for Your Soul, that we were just discussing. That's currently out on Amazon. It's new. She is a spiritual teacher and advisor for seekers of the truth on their journey. Kimberly channels Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and Mother, Father, God. She has studied spirituality, metaphysics, world religions, esoterics, supernatural and paranormal since she was 12 years old. Kimberly uses her special gifts, including clairvoyance, intuition, energy healing, other gifts to help people. She's also a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor and certified Reiki practitioner. Kimberly offers private sessions and classes through her website, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. And do you have a in-person studio where you do your sessions?
No, I work with people all over because I literally live out in the middle of the country. So I'm not near any, and my clients aren't local anyways. My clients are usually mostly out of my state, out of the country. I mean, they're everywhere, all over the world. I'm working with people in Israel right now. I'm working with people in a lot in Australia, a lot in the UK, all over the United States, East Coast. So yeah, I mean, I used to have clients that would come to me in person all the time in my home, but that was when I was living closer to a big city. And now I don't live in the big city. I don't live near the city anymore. I live out in the country because I moved. And so now all my work is remote.
So it's online sessions that clients can just visit your website and read the descriptions and book in for the sessions.
Yes.
That's good to know because some people always ask, is it in person? Is it online? Is it a combination of both? So it's kind of good to know what you do and how it's done from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, I use Zoom and WhatsApp.
Let's get into your questions about your work in Ascension in your book.
Sure.
So what is Ascension and how does it work?
So you have to first understand that there's different definitions of ascension. Like there's the ascension where Jesus ascended into the sky and went, to heaven. There's that ascension. There's different forms of ascension, but my book is about a specific definition of ascension. Actually, I have what I call the short paragraph, the short description, and the really long one. And the long one takes up a whole paragraph, a whole chapter in my book. But I'm going to give your audience and you the short description. So the shortest description is it's basically taking our earth and all of the beings, all the people, everything on it from what we call a third density consciousness. This is not a place or a location. This is a consciousness to a fifth density consciousness. Now, the third density consciousness is fear and all of the negative aspects of ego and all of the, we were a prison planet for 11,500 years. We had a matrix grid lockdown. We were under where people were forced to reincarnate over and over and take on these suffering contracts where they were coming into a body and going through really difficult suffering contracts. And that was a lot of false light. Well, there's a lot of reasons I talk about it in my book, but the third density fear consciousness was created to make Earth a classroom, because Earth was like this initially thousands of years ago. It was this place where beings from all over space could come to learn lessons. But what happened is that we got hijacked. Our planet was hijacked by what was called the Draco reptilians, or the Draco, 11,500 years ago. Some people refer to them as like the Moloch, or I can't remember. There's other names that they're referred to, but the Draco, which are negative ETs, and they went hopping and skipping around the universe for a couple million years, destroying planet after planet after planet. And then they came to Earth 11,500 years ago. They put it like a grid around the Earth, and it prevented Gaia, which is Mother Earth. Our Mother Earth has an actual consciousness. She's a conscious sentient being. She's actually conscious like you and I are conscious. She feels, she's very compassionate and loving. She kept sending out an SOS signal to the universe for help, and it was not getting out because they have this matrix grid. And so the signal for help was not getting out to what we call the good ETs, or to even the angelic beings and stuff like that. And so what happened is a whole bunch of us humans who are here now are not necessarily human souls. I talk in the book about the fact that there's human souls, there's star seeds, there's angelics, there's elementals who have all embodied into, there's even saints, there's even some of the saints and some of the apostles of Christ, like some of the disciples, are all embodied into human bodies right now, because we came here to ascend the planet. And what the ascension is all about, my left ear is ringing really loud right now for some reason. I'm getting like a download or something. What the ascension is about is taking away the grid. They first of all, the good guys showed up. We finally got like enough people on the planet have woken up, what they call the Great Awakening. Enough people have woken up on planet Earth to get a signal out into space for help. And so what happened is, when we reached a certain level of consciousness on the planet, then the good ETs showed up with their ships a little while back. They removed the grid matrix from the Earth in about December of 2019. And now we are going through this whole process. The actual ascension process really started in 2012. That whole Mayan calendar 2012 thing really kicked off the real hardcore ascension of the planet. And then the grid was removed in 2019. And so we're headed towards 5D. Right now, the Earth is fourth density. She was in third density. She's now in fourth density. And there's what we call scalar photon light energies that are hitting the planet from the central sun and our sun. The Schumann resonance is also working with that, which is on the planet. And it's raising the vibration of the planet higher and higher and higher and higher, and creating this crystalline energy that is taking our whole planet into this the density. And what I explain to people is, even though the planet's is in fourth and is going to fit, there's a lot of humans on the planet who are still stuck in third density. So that is, in my book, I talk about it as fear and blame and shame and guilt, service to self. It's like 100%, the world revolves around them. They worship money. They don't worship God. Very service to self, hateful people who are racist, people who are haters, people who are just fear-based, ego. Their whole life is all about ego. They don't have a lot of love. They've kind of turned away from God. They either don't believe in God or they worship Lucifer or Satan. There's a lot of those beings on the planet right now still. And some of them are choosing to stay that way, and some of them are choosing to come to the light or come to God and to actually ascend with us. And they'll all be given a chance up until the last second to come to the light and to ascend with us. But the ones who don't will be leaving here. They will not be here anymore. In another month or two, they will be gone. So
do you think we each have our own individual ascension process, or is it like the whole collective?
So it's the whole collective, and it's an individual process. And what I mean by that is we're all ascending together, but the rate of ascension is different for each person. And then each person is having possible positive or negative side effects of the ascension, which is unique to each person. Like right now, I just had some ringing in my ears. That's an ascension symptom. You can get headaches, dizziness, feeling tired. I have 2 whole chapters on ascension symptoms, positive and negative. And the thing is it's different from person to person. So what I'm feeling might be different from my neighbor or different from my family. So as far as us going through it, each uniquely on our own, as far as how we experience it, it's going to be unique to each person, but we are all going through it as a collective.
And there's a question that I'd like to ask that's not on our list, but I've often heard that ascension is somehow connected to something called the event. A huge event will happen and we'll all ascend, and this is going to transform us into that 5D state in reality of different beings. We'll still have human bodies. We'll just be more psychic. We'll just be more aware. We'll treat each other better. So how do you view the event and ascension with that?
So basically, so we've already been ascending, and then what the event is it's going to be, well, there's 3 or 4 things, because I channel this information, and then sometimes I just hear it. I get messages and downloads. I've been visually shown, because I also have prophetic visions, and I've been visually shown 3 or 4 different like timelines or possibilities that are all this event. They're all the same event. And one of them, all of the planets line up on December 21st. We're going to have unique astronomical event happening, several different things all at the same time that have, some of them never happened before in history. It's like first time ever that these things are happening in space, where these planets are lining up a specific way. And for some of the things going on, it will be the first time in like 70,000 years or something like that. But all these different conjunctures and astrological and astronomy things are going to be taking place on December 21st with the winter solstice, and that is going to create the event, like the big event. And what that does is that it's going to push us in more into that, you know, 5th density. And the event could go down 3 different ways or 4 different ways, and that's based on our collective consciousness, our choices, because we co-create together with our thoughts and our emotions and our actions and our words. So how humanity behaves and reacts over the coming weeks is going to determine how this all plays out. So one of the things is I saw all the planets lining up, like rolling into place, like kind of like a combination lock. And then this portal opens. It's like I saw like a big rectangular shape with all the central sun, what's called the solar flash, coming in, and that purifies everything in the universe, and it raises everything up into that 5th density. I've seen other timelines where ETs are, you know, coming down and having to infiltrate and scan people, and the people who are not what I call love and above, so people who are those really dense frequency, who have chosen to not join us, they basically get literally disintegrated. They just go bye-bye. I've seen that. I've seen one thing where the earth separates, it does what's called a bifurcation, where it splits into like a 3D earth and a 5D earth, and we stay on the 5D, and the 3D, all the people who are, you know, not so nice will go there. And then the other one is, and all of my psychic friends and all of this stuff that I'm telling you and telling your audience, this isn't just information I've been getting for several years now. This is information all of my friends who are light workers are getting, and we all compare notes, and we all get the exact same information. We get the same dates, we get the same info. Some of us get it slightly different, but we sit there and we go, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, because we all see it. And I'm talking about a couple hundred people I know, not just 1 or 2 people. I'm talking about tons of people that I'm in touch with, you know, through social media and other places, that are all having these same visions and these same things of how this is going to happen. So the other thing is that we're seeing that there's this thing called Nibiru. They call it Nibiru, but it's a big planet, and it's also called the dark planet. I call it the Death Star, because it's kind of like Star Wars, like the Death Star, except it's like a reverse Death Star, because instead of it being run by the bad guys are all going to be sent there. So basically it's, they call it the soul harvest. That's another thing, where basically all of the bad dark souls get harvested off the planet, sent to that Nibiru thing, which is hiding behind the moon right now. It's been brought in. It's like a space. It's basically a copy of Earth, but it's a darker version of it, because that is where they're going to play out their apocalypse timeline. So we are no longer on the apocalypse timeline where we have New World Order, mandatory shots, you know, all of this kind of crazy stuff happens. We're not on that timeline anymore. We've collapsed all those timelines. But they're going to be on that timeline because they're going to be sent somewhere where they're going to be playing out that scenario. And it's going to be not a lot of fun for them because they're going to go through what's called I was told by my channeling, or through my channeling, that it was a soul rehabilitation. So all of their souls will be rehabilitated. And Yeshua told me that it could be thousands of years. It could be millions of years for some of them. It's going to be different for each of them, how long it takes them to get up to par with where they should be. But the really, really dark souls, it could take them millions and millions of years. And then there's dark souls that are so dark that they refuse to ever come to the light, and they actually get obliterated. Like they will not exist anymore. They will not be allowed to exist. So
very interesting. And it's good to go over these various timelines because, like you said, several psychics and channelers have seen similar things as you. Dolores Cannon, who's passed on, in some of her hypnosis and in her visions, she saw the earth splitting into the 3D and the 5D. And some people get left behind in 3D and some going to 5D, 4D. So she saw that bifurcation by location of the earth splitting.
Right.
So that's in her books too. So, I mean, she's a famous psychic. We could call her a psychic because she did get intuition, hypnosis therapist. So that coincides with one of those timelines. And just this shift, this amazing change, this different vibration coming in. And you mentioned the Mayans in 2012, December, that's like the Kali Yuga ending and something new beginning.
Right.
So that has been talked about by psychics quite a bit. So as that kick-started, what is leading up to the event or these events that are going to change?
It was a catalyst. It was a catalyst. Basically, the 2012 was the end of the old era and the beginning of the new era, which is headed towards this era of peace, or as Yeshua called it when he came. The first time he talked to me about this was in March. It was in March after the lockdowns. He showed me kind of a scene of him raising Lazarus from the dead, and he said that the earth that I knew is about to die, and that he was resurrecting a new Shambhala. And I had to go look up the word Shambhala to see what it means, and it means kingdom of peace. That's what it means. So he's basically creating this kingdom of peace. And then he came in a second time with a second message a few weeks after that and said, very soon there will be much more heaven on earth. And then the third time he came back to me, he came 3 times. He came back to me and he said, the meek will inherit the earth and the evil ones will be leaving. And I was like, yes, woohoo.
Yeah, it would be nice if all evil left this planet and we had peace on earth, and like the 100,000 or 300 years of peace that psychics.
I heard 2,000 years of peace.
2,000. Okay, well, I mean, I'm going big. 200, 300,000 years would be even better. It's kind of that would be my happy number. And so let's talk about your book in terms of how did you channel the information in your current book, Ascension 101, A Roadmap for Your Soul?
Well, so what happened was, so I've been channeling since I had my children. It's not something I've done my whole life. I was born with a lot of intuitive gifts and clairvoyant gifts, but the channeling came through after I had my kids, because I had what they call a Kundalini experience when I, delivered my kids, natural birth. It was just, so my third eye blew open. So I had all these new kind of gifts that I received. And so I started channeling and I started channeling Yeshua, and I knew it was him because I've had a close relationship with him and Mary since I was about 5 years old. So I knew it was him, and all the messages have been 100% love, 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 just compassion and love. And one thing that people need to understand is how you discern when the messages are good versus bad, or like negative ETs, is because Satan will give you 99 truths for one, or 99 truths to slip in one lie. So like you'll have all these good messages and all of a sudden something will be off. Like there'll be something off, or something feels fear-based, like it's fear-based, or there's something bad, or it just feels ominous. Every message I ever get is always uplifting and loving 100%. Like it just feels really good in your heart space. It just feels like love, you know? So that's how I know. But basically about 10 months or more ago, he popped in and he said, I want you to help all of my children on this planet get through this ascension process. And he said, I want you to write a book. And I argued with him. I actually said, nope, I'm not writing a book, because my last book was a disaster. It's a whole long story, but it was not a lot of fun. And I wrote a 300-something page book, and it didn't do what I expected it to do. And I lost $44,000. So I swore to my family I'd never write another book again. And I told him, so I made a comment to him and basically said, I don't want to do this. And he said, you have to do this. And he said, I promise you this time it will be different. And he said, I will be giving you all the info and you're just going to be typing. And that was it. And then I said, okay, I'll do it. So for 10 months, I was like channeling all this info and typing away, and about 30% of it came from me, just from my own knowledge, my own information, and my higher self. But 70% of it was all his just information flowing from him that he wanted me to cover. Like he had specific topics. He gave me the title chapters and said, these are the subjects I want you to cover. Like I have a whole chapter about how to be happy, like happiness. So the thing that's cool about this book is it's not just an ascension book to get you through the ascension. It's actually a lifelong book to get you through your entire journey, like your whole soul journey. Because everything that's in the book will literally help you on the journey of your soul, which is why it's called Ascension 101, a roadmap for your soul, because the information that's contained in this book is information that you literally will use as long as you're in existence, until you return back to source that we all return to. So you'll basically always use it, but I just channeled it. It was just information would come through. I just write notes, or I'd type on my computer, and then I eventually had it done. You know, when he said enough, and I said, is there anything else? And he said, nope, we're good. And then I said, okay. And then I had it edited and published, and then that was it. That was, pretty much how it happened.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there was a 44,000 loss. Were you working with a publisher?
No, I got ripped off by 3 really bad PR agencies. Yeah, they took like thousands of dollars, and then I didn't sell any books.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I published my own book recently too on Amazon, and it was so easy. You just upload your PDF, nice manuscript, your good one for your print version, and you upload the digital copy with other software that you have to use for it. You pop it up and it's on sale if it passes all the copyright stuff. And it's so easy. You're not beholden to a publisher. You're not beholden to PR people. It just, anybody can buy it. And if you want to edit it again and re-upload, you can. And in 5 days, the new version is up if you have a different thing that you want to add. So good for you for self-publishing. I commend you for that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts. And honestly, there's a little bit of fear, because you don't know how, like what you're doing. Like I was afraid, like I'm not a fearful person. I always release everything over, or not release it. That's a bad word, but I'd let go of everything over to God, usually let God take care of it. But in this case, my analytical part of my brain, my left side part of my brain is like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? And what if this, and what if that? And you're analyzing every little thing.
Yeah. The first book is always the tough child, so to speak, because a lot goes into it, and it's your learning curve. But I mean, you have the rights and the control to your book.
Right.
You don't have anybody telling you how to write it, when to write it, how much to write it. And again, KDP Publishing on Amazon allows you to upgrade your versions of your book. If you find mistakes, if you want to add something, remove something, fix something, it's all in your control, because it's your book.
It's very forgiving, forgiving.
They don't tell you what to do. You can even pull your book off of Amazon for some reason if you need to, if something, not that we would ever do that, because our books are great and they're written with heart and honesty and love, but you have the right to control your book with Amazon. They don't bother you.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
the beauty of self-publishing. Maybe we have to do more promotionals by ourselves to advertise it, but at least it's all in our hands and nobody's telling us how to do this.
Right.
There's no push from Amazon. It's all yours, and I find it a safe experience, right? Would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's great. Kudos to you for self-publishing, and it's one of the best ways to do this. Put it out yourself and get it out there so millions of people can see it, read it, and just get to know you and your work.
Well, I was actually under a time constraint. Like he was pushing me to get it out like now. And because I was like, oh, should I send out manuscripts to publishers? And he said, no time. He said, the big event is coming really soon and I need this out to as many people as possible. And so that was why I did it.
Well, and publishers can be very critical. Publishers can be very hardball. Change this. I don't like that. Make this way. And it could stall your book from being published quickly. So, and some publishers want a deposit from you for you to pay them for services and stuff. Not all publishers, some take consignments when it's out and published. They'll take a certain percentage, then some want it up front. So it's like it's out of your control, out of your wheelhouse. I agree. It's a little bit more work to self-publish it, but at least it's in your control, your way, and your time frame. So
yes, I've heard horror stories about some of these publishing companies and what they've done to people, and I just don't even want to have part of that. Like it just sounds scary.
Me neither. Yeah, I'd rather put in the extra work. I'm working on a second book that's taking too long, but whatever. It's no time constraint on this.
Yeah, in my case, I had a time constraint. The last one, it took me 5 years to write my book. It was 5 years and researching lots of medical. It was a medical book and it was very medical researched. And and it all blew up. It just didn't, I couldn't sell enough books to ever repay my bank account. So I kind of went bankrupt. Like I couldn't make any money, And then I had everybody coming to me wanting me to speak all over the country, but they didn't want to pay me anything to do it. And it was like, okay, well, I'm not selling books and I'm not getting paid. So how does this work?
Yeah, it doesn't. You have to do it on your terms and how you feel good. And self-publishing, you can get a lot of the material out quickly and you can get a second book out without judgment, without fear, without criticism. It's your material, it's your work. Nobody's holding it. Nobody's literally holding it hostage. So I respect those people that self-publish.
I do too. I respect everybody who self-publishes because honestly, the biggest thing is the creative process and being able to be strong enough to not self-criticize yourself and not beat yourself up over it, because the problem that most people have of why they don't self-publish is that little negative talk in the brain, that little negative voice that yaks at you and says, you're not good enough, or you won't be successful, nothing's going to happen right for you. All of this little negative self-talk that we do in our mind. And that prevents a lot of people from getting out of their own way and like pushing, it creates like a block basically to your success because you've got these little tapes playing in your mind. So, yeah.
But the process is you get to know how to write it, how to create everything yourself and publish. So you learn so much from it too.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Oh, me too. But now the second time around, it'll be easier. So what is your book Ascension 101 about? What are the topics and what makes this book unique and special for the audience to read it, in your opinion?
Well, so basically, I've been studying metaphysics and spirituality and supernatural since I was 12 years old, and I'm going to be 55 in a few weeks. So I've been studying this stuff 43 years. And people have all these questions like, what is God? Like everybody wants to know, what is God? What is the meaning of life? Why am I here? And honestly, this book answers everybody's basic questions that all of my friends on social media ask me all the time, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? what is God really? Like, I have a whole chapter on explaining what God is, because it's really hard for the human brain to wrap itself around what God really is. And the churches have created all of these wrong belief systems around God, that God's like a dude and he sits in a throne with a beard or something in this heaven place. And that's not what God is at all. And so I had to, and that whole chapter, and here's what's really cool is, while I was channeling the book, I was learning because I didn't know these answers to a lot of this stuff. So it was answering my own personal questions. Like, for example, I was asking about demons, like, why are they here? What's the purpose of a demon? And I got all that information. Like, I was told that demons are basically artificial intelligence that are programmed by Satan, and Satan is a really ancient extraterrestrial. So do you have somebody there behind you at all? Is there somebody there?
No, why?
There is somebody there behind you.
No, there's nobody behind me but my computer screen.
There's actually somebody standing behind you, and they keep peeking out at me from behind around the corner there.
Well, maybe you're energetically seeing somebody, because there's no one in the room with me except me and you in the interview. Yeah, no, you have like it's either a good ET or a spirit, or maybe one of your guides or angel or somebody there, and they keep peeking out every now and then. Okay, well, I mean, sometimes beings will come in, they're curious when I'm talking to somebody new or when I'm interviewing somebody. I mean, you can pick up on it. I'm getting a bit goosebumps, but I'm not getting bad vibration from it. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. No, it's almost like curious. It's like curious. It like wants to know, like it's listening in and it just wants to know. So yeah. Okay, it can stay. If it is curious. It's on your right, it's over your right shoulder. So it could stay. Yeah. But anyway, so the chapters in the book, I've got a chapter on what is God, what are you? I go over all the parts of you, your astral body, your physical body, your emotional body, your spirit body, your oversoul, your higher self, all these parts that make up what you are. I talk about that. I talk about how to connect with guardian angels and God and spirit guides and all that, communicating with them. Talk about, a lot of health stuff. Like I have a whole chapter on, I have 2 chapters on ascension symptoms, one on the good ones and one on the bad health ones, and then lots of advice on what to do. This whole book is like a toolbox of spiritual and metaphysical information, how to raise your vibrational frequency, how to protect yourself from lowering your vibrational frequency, how to be happy for the rest of your life, just all of these different subjects that people really, really want to know about. And then my favorite chapter is a chapter on why we get sick and die, because so many people ask me questions about why do babies die of cancer when they're 1 month old, or why do they die of SIDS, or why does a 20-year-old suddenly get hit by a car or die? What is the reason, or why do people have continuous ongoing pain and suffering their whole life? Like I've had health issues since I first gave birth to my children. It's just been nonstop health issues. And so I wanted to know the answer. So I asked all these questions myself. I was asking questions that everybody else wants to know, like, why this, why that? And then I was channeling the answers, to this stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much what it covers, is pretty much everything everybody wants to know. It's like a basic guidebook for anybody who wants to know spiritual, metaphysical, information. It's just that basic guidebook to everything that you can imagine. Yeah, and it's interesting that you cover what is God. I mean, a lot of people ask that question and many people say different things. What came through the channeling about what is God in the book? Well, it's a whole chapter, but to basically sum it up into like a few sentences, God is the energy, frequency, and vibration of unconditional love. God is the creator that just keeps creating and creating and creating. There's no end to that creation, and God does not exist in any time, frequency, or dimension. God exists inside and outside of all of it, because God just is. It just is. And the way I like to explain it, I explained this in the book, but this is a good one for your audience, is think of God as like a big block of ice.
a big like block, big, huge block of ice. Okay. And then you take off a chunk of that and it's a universe. And then another chunk, it's another universe. And if you take that chunk and break it down smaller into planets, and then even tinier into humans and animals and creatures, it's still God. It's still the ice. It's still water. It's still basically water, whether it's melted water, chip water, frozen water, it's still all water. It's still all made of water. And it's still the ice. So we are God, but we're not gods. Okay. So the creator, and there's a lot of people who try to say, I am God. I'm not God. I'm a divine soul. There is a one creator, a creative energy that created everything. But at the same time, I'm a child of that. I'm like a chip off of that. So I'm like a part, I'm basically a unique expression of that God. We're all like unique expressions of how the creation or creator expresses itself. And that is the best way to describe God. And especially the fact that God is not judging, not mean, isn't going to send a lightning bolt up your butt. God is unconditional love. God does not cause illness. God does not cause you to suffer. God does not harm you. God does not destroy cities. God does not kill. God does not do any of that. That's all Satan. That's all the dark side. The dark side is death and destruction and punishment and judgment. That's all the dark side. So, yeah.
So does Ascension create any symptoms, and what are some of the helpful techniques to be able to heal these symptoms?
So a lot of the symptoms are going to be mental and physical. So like there's, believe it or not, positive symptoms. Like a lot of people are getting new psychic gifts that they never had before, or they're feeling lighter, or maybe they're getting along better, or maybe they're manifesting quickly. Like as we're ascending, we're manifesting quicker and quicker. So somebody will say, I want a boyfriend. And then the next day the boyfriend shows up. We're just like, so that's one of the positive symptoms, is that we're quickly manifesting. People are developing new psychic gifts that they never had before. People are waking up and understanding all the lies that we've been living in. History is a lie. The school system is a lie. The financial systems of the world are all lies. All the governments are lies. All the government rulers are all controlled by the cabal. So that's all a lie. So that's one of the positive symptoms, is people waking up and seeing and having eyes to see and ears to hear and heart to feel the truth and see the truth. But there's negative symptoms. Negative symptoms could be things like dizziness, headaches, heart palpitations, not either feeling like you don't want to ever eat at all, or maybe wanting to eat, or having weird food cravings all of a sudden, or weird sudden allergy to something you were never allergic to before. Not being able to sleep. A lot of us are just not able to sleep, and if we're sleeping, it's really interrupted. Like we'll sleep intermittently. A lot of people are having prophetic dreams, like really crazy prophetic dreams. Just hundreds of thousands of people having these kind of dreams, seeing what's coming and seeing what's going on, and just like seeing that stuff. And there's probably like a list of a couple hundred or more side effects of Ascension, like actual physical symptoms. And I always have my disclaimer in there saying, if you're experiencing any physical or mental things, you really need to go to a doctor to rule out that it's not an actual physical thing, and how you know that it's Ascension versus there's something really wrong with you. Like maybe you have diabetes, or, something weird, you're dizzy because you have diabetes. How you know is you'll go to the doctor, they'll run every test on you, and they'll shake their head and go, I don't know what's wrong with you. Because that was me. That was me. I mean, I was having all these weird things, kept going to the doctor, and the doctors I went through every test in the book, and they kept saying, we don't know what's wrong with you. There was no diagnosis, Oh, I'm dizzy all the time. My head feels this weird squeezing pressure all the time. They couldn't tell me anything.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you're getting downloads and uploads of information coming from the universe, it can make you dizzy, or you're processing energy. You're in a place that's energetically charged. Could be positive energy or negative, and you just are so sensitive, and those could be Ascension symptoms. You're just processing energy, you're learning something, you're trying to understand something that doesn't make sense to the human senses, because you're evolving, your senses are upgrading. So that could be part of Ascension for me. Sometimes
well, ringing ears, high-pitched frequencies in the ears, everybody's complaining about that. Like these weird sounds in their ears. Some people start to hear music, they've never heard before. I call it tapping into the interstellar highway. There's a lot of people like myself who they'll be laying in bed one morning and all of a sudden they're hearing voices chattering around them, like people talking around them, and or they're getting downloads. And downloads can be, for me, like a screen popping up literally in front of my face with light codes on it or binary code on it. I'll be like laying there meditating or something, and all of a sudden this screen pops up like a computer, and it's all this light code. It's because I'm receiving codes to, I'm upgrading, my DNA is being changed. And that is part of the ascension I forgot to mention. So the DNA of the planet and the DNA of the humans is completely changing. We're going from a 2-strand DNA to a 12-strand DNA. And it's crazy because your body's adjusting, your body's actually shifting and adjusting. So you're gonna feel weird sensations in your bones and weird aches all over your body and just all kinds of weird stuff that you're gonna feel, which is, you have to look at it as this has to happen. You have to look at it as a positive instead of a negative and say, oh my God, I'm sick, I'm all messed up. You need to say, instead, you need to say, wow, all these changes are happening because we're going in a positive direction now. We are finally moving to a good place, into a positive place. So if you look at it as like a temporary little discomfort to get us to a good place, you know, it's a very temporary problem. That's a good way to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I've been able to talk to ETs and communicate, and I also do what's called DNA infusions. So different ET collectives have different DNA strands. Like I've seen 12-stranded, 22, 26-stranded DNA. So we as humans are upgrading, but sometimes humans want ET DNA now, like now. So with my psychic energy healing and DNA infusions, it's possible to work with ETs to transfuse some of their DNA over ours, overlap it, and integrate double, triple-stranded DNA. So
that's cool.
it's possible to do, and then they open up psychic abilities, gifts. There's certain traits that come with ET DNA.
Yeah, definitely.
That some of us, like, it could be latent in us and not activated, and with their DNA infusion, it just opens up our gifts.
Well, I get that. I totally get it. I have a Pleiadian on my, so I have a team of 12 ascended masters who guide me, and one of them is actually a Pleiadian, and he's really beautiful. He's got blue eyes and really white hair and really, you know, he's very beautiful. You know, male, it's male, and he's just incredible. And I've been seeing him in my meditations for a long time. And then over the years that I've been meditating, because I'm a certified meditation instructor and I've been meditating for like 23 years. And when I meditate, I've seen a lot of ETs like that have come in, and some of them were really creepy looking, like they scared me, but they weren't bad. It's not that they're bad, it's that they look so different from us. Like one of them had like a monkey looking kind of, you know, face, and one was, I've seen reptilians that were not bad ones. And people need to understand that even though the Draco reptilians are bad, there's also a faction of good reptilians too. They're not all bad. So that's important to note.
Oh yeah. I consider him sort of a friend. His name is Agor. He's a reptilian insectoid hybrid who I channel sometimes and I psychically communicate with. He's not bad. And then I've been abducted by reptilians who were bad, so I don't judge based on just one race of reptilians because there's thousands of them out there. It's like racial prejudice. We have on this earth people of different color and ethnicities and backgrounds, religious, various belief systems. Do I judge them on everything they are? No, of course not, because they're different. So we're in a multicultural, diversified North American countries. We don't judge other people by their differences. So it's same with ET species. There's millions of them, billions of them out there. They're not all the same. They're not all good, bad, or something in between. You don't judge based on one experience or whatever.
You don't really know, honestly, until you find out if they have what their intentions are, if they're malevolent or benevolent. Because the way I look at it, and I discern everything in this world, is when it's benevolent and it's good, it's going to be compassionate and loving always. It's not going to change. It's not going to be compassionate and then all of a sudden there's going to be a little bit of evil, fear-based stuff coming in there. It's just going to always be informational, educational, loving, or, you know, so some of the messages I get are just educational, but they're they're neutral. Okay, so they're neutral. So they're not bad, they're not good. It's just educational versus evil or dark or nefarious messages. And I've seen so many light workers on social media, on YouTube, so many of them that are corrupted now, where they used to be really good and all their messages were good. And then all of a sudden they're doing these videos where they're saying things like Jesus Christ, his mother was abducted by aliens, and that he's an alien. He was implanted in the womb of her, which is all, none of that is true. None of that is true. I know that because I was there. I was there. I have memories of my, past lifetimes, and I was there. And not only was I there, but I'm connecting with all the other people who were there during that time, because we're all here again now for this ascension. And so we're all connecting with each other and talking and sharing notes, and we all have our memories. We all remember being there. We all remember who he was and what he was. He was not, he wasn't in his physical body, his human body. He was not an ET. However, we all came from a star system called Sirius. So the family of Christ and the apostles and all of the people around Christ all came from a star system called Sirius before they came to Earth. So in an effect, they were ET, but they were in a human, they embodied into a human body. So.
Well, sometimes even when we embody in the human body, a lot of our ET characteristics and traits awake later on in late 20s, 30s, and we sort of embody past lifetimes of ETs or characteristics of where we originated as the soul.
Yes.
So,
that's true.
It's different things that can be considered of what humanism is and what we are as ETs, in my opinion. So,
well, and a lot of us are, actually every human in a way is ET, because because they manipulated all of the DNA way back when, thousands of years ago. They messed with all of us, and they took and that cracks me up about the whole paleo, because I've studied paleontology. I studied archaeology my whole life, paleontology, all these different things. And it's very fascinating to me. And I've always known that caveman didn't suddenly become us, Homo sapien, normal looking the way we look. There's like a missing link, right? Well, the missing link is the DNA manipulation by the ETs, because the ETs took the ape looking like humanoids who were here originally on the planet, and then they messed with them and they changed them around to make them more like them. And we are a mix of a lot of different ETs. So we have Anunnaki in us, and we have reptilian in us, and we have Pleiadian, and all of these different Arcturian and Andromedan, and all these different things that are in us. We're all kind of mixed up, because we've been messed with so many times. And then they hit the reset button on the planet a lot of times, where they'd wipe everything out and then they'd replace it with new ones. And originally when the planet was started as a 3D planet for learning, there were ETs from all over the galaxy that were here, all cohabitating, like in Atlantis and Lemuria. There was all kinds of ETs living, in those civilizations. And that's another thing, is people think that's a place, and it wasn't a place, it was a time period. So Atlantean time period was an actual time period. There might've been a main city or a main place that, is shaped like a circle, like they show in the pictures, where they were controlling everything out of, like where the government was based out of or whatever. But it was actual time period, the Atlantean time period, and then there's a Lemurian time period. But then they pushed the reset buttons and blew them all up, and destroyed the planet and started over.
It's interesting. Those are, to me, what I saw of those past lives. They were time periods of real events, real people, real ETs mixing with us humans during Atlantis and Lemuria. So ETs of blue skin, tall, short, all kinds were here openly.
Yes, exactly. I have memories of that too, because I was in Atlantis once and I was in Lemuria 2 times. And I remember, I have, memories. I don't remember everything like from beginning to end, but I have like core memories, like really good core memories. So
yeah, me too. And I openly share these lifetimes on my website. It's nothing to hide. It's what we remember, and it's part of our soul evolution.
Yes, exactly. It's all very beautiful too.
Yeah, that's true. So what inspired you to write your new book, Ascension 101?
So, honestly, You know, I said he came to me and he asked me to do it, but I could have easily been a stubborn human and said, no, I'm not going to do it. The reason I chose to do it and inspired me to go ahead and do it is because I felt really sad. I'm an empath. I'm a super empath. And I was out on social media and I could really feel the angst of all these people that are looking at the world and all of the terrible things that are going on. And they're finding out all this truth that kept coming out and coming out, and the COVID and all that. And people were like losing their hope. You know, they were losing their hope. And there were so many people that were stuck in fear and they just didn't know, where are we going? What's happening? And I really felt like they needed something to give them hope and also something to give them guidance, you know, on their journey, because so many people really had hundreds of questions and they weren't getting their questions answered by any of the spiritual gurus out there. There's all these people who claim to be spiritual gurus and energy healers and light workers and all that, but they weren't really giving people the answers that most people are asking. And my whole thing was, okay, I'll write this book. And the reason I'm doing it is not just for him, but it's for me, because I really badly, I'm here to help humanity. That's why I came here. And it's like, I really badly wanted people to have a peace of mind and to have answers to their questions and to have a roadmap to lead them on their journey, you know, something to guide them and lead them, which is what this does. It gives them a roadmap to find their way. And before, a lot of these people didn't have a roadmap. They didn't know, where do I go? What do I do? Why am I here? What the heck am I here for? You know, they needed that roadmap. And so for me, I'm inspired by the fact that I'm helping so many people. And I get all these beautiful messages sent to me every day from people who've read the book and just, they said it changed their life. People are saying they've read it 3 and 4 times over, and that they shared it with people. They're like loaning it out to everybody. And, you know, I'm getting all these wonderful comments. And that's what inspires me, is people's reaction to the information is just beautiful. It's just really, people are having really life-changing transformational experiences after they read this. Several people said that they were completely transformed after they read it. So.
And this connects again to your book. What is it like to be a channeler? Is it clairvoyant, or do you see future premonitions as well? Clairaudience? What is involved in the channeling?
Yeah, so, okay, so I think I made a video about this on my YouTube channel, about the difference between channeling versus getting downloads versus getting messages. So I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, you know, intuitive. I'm not a psychic medium. I don't, you know, I will see spirits from time to time, but I'm not a medium where I can just have a conversation with some dead person or something like that, because I don't like to do that. It's icky. I could do it if I wanted to, but that part of my psyche has been shut down because it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not my work here. So I leave it to my friends who are experts at that. My best friend is one of the best psychic mediums on the planet. And, you know, she works solving murders and all kinds of things. You know, she's amazing. I leave that to them. But the channeling, what channeling is to me is the information is flowing through you, but it's not coming from your brain. It's not coming from your human brain. It's flowing through you from God source in my case, or Yeshua in my case, or Mary Magdalene. I don't channel anything else. There's a lot of people who channel entities with all kinds of different names. I've never done that. I just only stick to just what I'm supposed to. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of friends who channel different star beings and different people. And it's just the information coming, it'll either come out of my mouth, like I'll be having a session with somebody and all of a sudden I'll be speaking words that did not come from me. Like, I don't even know these answers. Like, I don't know where it's coming from. That's channeling through. Sometimes energy can channel through you too. Kind of like when I'm a certified Reiki practitioner, you know, you can flow energy from God's source through you. That's also acting as a channel. You're channeling energy. You're a vessel for God to work that God energy to heal people, you know, as a healer. So there's those ways of channeling, but you're basically just receiving information. And the important thing to know is there's people that are channeling negative ETs, demonic entities, and bad entities. And how you discern the difference is, again, Satan will tell you 99 truths for one lie. So you will hear good, good, good. And then all of a sudden there'll be something in there that's coming out of that channel that it does not sound right. There's something off about it. And that is how you know they are not channeling pure source. People who know me, all the psychic people who know me and know what I do, they all know I'm what we call a clear, pure channel. So I'm just latched right into God, and that's it. I'm not interfered with by any, you know, I don't have any ETs coming through or anything like that. It's just pure loving, that unconditional love, you know, it's either educational, which is neutral, or it's just loving and encouraging and compassionate and healing information. Like for years, I've been working on people with their healing, you know, healing their body and that kind of thing. So that's the kind of information that I channel, basically.
So how can Ascension change the world in order to make it better? And what have been some of your predictions about what is happening on Earth and the universe?
So, so before our planet was wars and strife. So think about all the poverty and all of the starvation in places like Yemen and Africa and all these countries, even like the Middle East, all over the Middle East, all over Asia, where there's mass poverty, mass starvation, Mexico, you know, places like that. That was all systems set up by the cabal to keep people suffering. This whole system has been set up, this whole earth, as an earth of suffering. And the thing is the earth's been out of balance. Okay, in order, the whole thing of earth is a classroom. You come here to learn. You were supposed to have 80% good and 20% bad, because you need that bad, because you need to understand happiness. To understand happiness, you need to understand sorrow and grief, right? So you have to have good and bad. But it's been out of balance the whole time on this planet because these bad dudes came and took over the classroom. It was taken over by a bad headmaster. So it would be kind of like Lord Voldemort taking over, Dumbledore's position, basically. You know, you have Dumbledore disseminating good information that's all balanced, and then Voldemort comes in there and it's all mostly evil, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same idea as the Hogwarts Academy. You know, it's basically the earth is shifting out of this mostly evil to a little bit of good. It's going to go to mostly good to just a little bit of bad. So we'll still always have a little bit of bad, because this can't be classroom earth and you can't learn anything if there's no bad at all. Like if this was just like heaven exactly, then why would you leave heaven and embody here? The purpose of embodying into a body on this earth is learning. But at the same time, you shouldn't be suffering. The suffering was set up by the Draco and the Cabal and the elite families, those 12 elite families. That's who set up all of the suffering, you know, the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller, you know, all those people that keep reincarnating over and over. Hitler, Stalin, you know, all those dudes, they're all demonic. It's all demonic. They will not be running the show here anymore. God will be running the show here now. From now on, it will be run by God. So it's going to go from, as Yeshua said, very soon there will be much more heaven on earth. He didn't say it's going to become heaven. He said there will be more heaven on earth. So it's going to become closer to that. You're not going to have poverty anymore. You're not going to have starvation anymore. You're not going to have wars. Wars are going bye-bye. No more wars. Raping and pillaging and all the horrible, it's all going to go away. So.
And what types of work do you do as a meditation and mindfulness instructor and certified Reiki practitioner? So going a bit away from the channeling and more towards the meditation, the mindfulness instruction that you do in the certified Reiki work.
So, well, Reiki stuff I don't do anymore. I used to do it. I actually stopped doing energy healing on people because I'm such a huge empath that I take on their energy too much. And no matter how much production I was doing on myself, the energy work, and I talk about this in my book. I talk about what's called your soul purpose versus your life missions. We all have life missions. So I had a 7-year period where I was just a healer. That's all I did, was healing people. And now I'm moving into a different phase of my mission in my life, which is just spiritual teaching. So I'm not supposed to be doing healing on people anymore, but the meditation and mindfulness is all part of the spiritual work. In order to connect with God, because I was asked by Yeshua, he said to teach people how to connect with God directly. He wanted me to finish his work that he was doing. He said, I want you to finish my work that I did here. So he wanted me to teach people how to connect directly with Source and open their crown chakra and their third eye and connect with their higher self and their guides and their angels. So I teach people how to quiet their mind and meditate, because God speaks to all of us all the time, but we don't hear him because our minds are cluttered. And meditation is the only way that you can calm your mind down and quiet yourself so that you can get your own guidance and become your own guru. There are no gurus on earth. All the gurus are the ascended masters. They're the only gurus. So if you want to connect with the real gurus, not the phony, egotistical maniac humans who call themselves a guru, which I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student, and I have a lot of humility. I know that I'm here to teach. I've been teaching things for 30 years, but I'm also still always learning, and I'm not a guru because I'm not high enough to be a guru. I'd have to be dead and be an ascended master to be a guru. So the meditation helps me to teach people how to connect into source directly, how to quiet their minds, but it also creates a lot of healing in the body because there's hundreds of medical studies that show all of the mental and physical health benefits of meditation, and anxiety and panic attacks and depression and better sleep, all kinds of stuff like that. And the mindfulness, it's the same way. Mindfulness is present moment awareness. It's not just a meditation, it's a lifestyle. So you practice mindfulness all day long, like continuously.
Exactly. And I mean, those people that claim to be gurus or to becoming gurus, they create spiritual cults and cult classics, what I call, because they have a grouping of people that's part of their spiritual group, and it's a cult now, and it's a guru school because they're like always hungry. They're coming to one person to learn. It's not just one person who teaches universal knowledge, life healing, meditation. It's many people who do this work. You, me, others who do it. So it's not
all of us do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And guru, like the cults here, it's like one specific person does it. Nobody else can do it but them, and you can only come to them to learn it. So
they charge a lot of money for what they're doing, a lot of money. I mean, I keep my fees really, really low. I charge in fact, I get yelled at all the time that my fees are not high enough, that I need to raise them, but I'm trying to be available to everybody. You know, I try to make myself available because I'm here to help people. I charge people because I'm giving, because it's my only business, my only income, number one. And number two, because I'm giving away so much energy, I need to get something back. There has to be balance. You got to give and receive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to go charge $1,000 for a session. And I know guru people who are doing that. They're charging $1,000 for a psychic session or $500.
Yo, that's too much. I'm
it's
like,
ridiculous.
I'm like, I know what these sessions cost because I do them myself. So I have anywhere from $30 to 200 something, maybe sometimes 300 for courses. But I don't, like, if it's something big that I'm teaching, it could go maybe up to 1,000, but that's a course package. That's a whole package of courses. But I don't go over certain limits of things because it has to be accessible, like you said, to people. And if it's the only business we're doing, which you and I are, so it has to be somewhat reasonable in cost, in time, because we're giving our energy as teachers, as healers, as intuitives, channelers, whatever we are, psychics, there's so many of us. It's giving our time, our energy, our resources to be able to do what we do. It's not about how much, who's the best, how much, who charges. It's what we're unique and what we can do.
We're all unique. Yeah, and I look at everything as collaborative. I don't think of myself as competing with anyone in this industry at all because I have my own unique way of doing things, and certain people will resonate to what I do. And then I have all these sisters like yourself you have gifts too, amazing gifts, and you're helping people too. And we're going to cross refer people to each other because there's things that you do that I don't do. Like I don't do the ET work that you do. There's so much stuff you do that I cannot do and I don't want to do. And so in that case, we work together and we help each other. And we send clients back and forth. And the important thing is the fact that there is no right way or wrong way. Everybody has their own unique way to the truth. Everybody, and which is what I do. I teach people, I tell people that I'm basically teaching them to be their own guru and find their own truth, not incorporate other people's truth as their truth. I don't want you to believe my truth is your truth. I want you to find what's your truth by using the skills and tools that I teach you to find your own truth.
Exactly. And it's about collaboration. I don't claim to be a guru. I don't claim to be an expert. And I don't claim to make guarantees that I can cure you or heal all things that you have.
No guarantee.
Energy healing can help people feel better from symptoms of whatever they have. And sometimes it can even make you feel really good and your symptoms are gone. But it's not a cure-all for everything that you have in life. So I don't make those claims or guarantees. Everybody asks in healing, can you guarantee me that I'll feel 100% better after a session? Or, you know, what you channel to me is going to make me 100% better. You can't guarantee something that's not guaranteeable.
Right. Yeah, I don't ever guarantee anything to my clients other than they will go away. I promise that they will go away learning one new thing, at least one new thing, but I don't promise healing because I'm not, when I say that I've healed people, I'm not the one who's healed them. I always tell people, they'll come to me and say, oh, you healed me. I always shake my head and go, no, I didn't. You healed you along with God, you and God. It's like a partnership between them and God. I just was used as kind of a tool to help them. You know, I was just a helper. That's all I did. I'm not the one who did anything, you know, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I channel universal healing energy when I'm working on somebody in a healing session. I don't claim that I'm 100% the healer because there's always universal energy coming in from source, creator, from God, whatever you choose to call that energy, that being, it comes from them to us. And we're like the vessel guiding that energy for healing, for channeling, whatever psychic stuff, like whatever you do, it comes from somewhere else as well. It's not 100% always us. So it's like, so I always have the disclaimer, I'm not going to guarantee a cure. I'm not going to, the only thing I will say is that energy healing is supposed to make you feel better and healthier and happier. To what degree is up to them as well, because they come for whatever we do is to help them. How much they choose to take that in is also up to them, up to the person in the session. Because they work on themselves too. We're here to help them and guide them, but we're not here to fix everything in their life.
Yeah, well, that's not up to us to fix them. And I always tell people, you're not broken. You know, you just need some tools to help you, but you're not broken. You don't need fixing. You're just a human and a work in we're all a work in progress. We all need to improve ourselves. You know, I will be learning until I might be teaching till I die, but I'm going to learn until I die as well. And then I'm going to learn beyond that, because your whole soul, the whole purpose of your soul is to just keep learning and learning and learning and learning. So it's your whole soul journey.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And this is about collaboration, I find as well. We're not here to be gatekeepers for anybody. We're not here to hold back information. Our books are reasonably priced. Information is a lot of information in our books. So we're here to try to just share our knowledge and collaborate with each other. Like, you have a YouTube channel and you can't, in the email, honestly, full disclosure, you said, I only have 500 viewers or subscribers. I said, I don't care how many subscribers or viewers you have. It's about your content. It's about you. I'm interested in interviewing you for you and your book. I don't care if you have 500 subscribers or 10,000 or 1,000,000. It's the quality of you and your work that I'm interested in.
Well, and you know, Ileana, the reason I reached out to you, because I'm really careful. My team protects me a lot from there's a lot of people who have YouTube shows and interview people who are they're not so good. Okay, let's just put it that way. And I'm not going to say who they are, but they're not very nice. And so I'm very protected. And so I'm kind of motivated, or I'm told, inspired who to reach out to and who not. And I reached out to you because I saw a couple of your shows. And I was blown away with your light and your energy and who you are as a person, because you're like this, you just seem so familiar to me. Like you're this really beautiful soul, and you have a lot of really good information to give, and you're not in your ego. You are actually, honestly, the most down-to-earth person I ever watched on a video in my life. I saw your videos and I was like, oh my gosh, she's just like a real person. And, you know, I was so impressed. And that's why I reached out to you. It's like, I just loved your energy, like everything about you. I just thought it was awesome.
Well, thank you. And sometimes I struggle with ego, but it's not about me. And on the show, it's about the people that I interview or talk to. So, I mean, ego exists in all of us, but I try to like quiet it down, set it aside, not control me and what I want to be, in my honesty and my compassion, and just in the truthfulness of when I interview people, it's about you and your energy and what you want to share with me. It's not about me. So ego is like, put it aside, and you don't be in that egotistical energy, because that doesn't help you heal. It doesn't help you inspire yourself, uplift yourself, help others. It's just there to kind of like, in the back of your mind, ego does protect somewhat as well. I find it's there to remind us that we're not perfect.
No.
We are territorial sometimes. So that's what ego is.
So I have a whole chapter in my book on how to be happy. And you know that I talk about what I call the negative aspects of ego and positive aspects of ego. And the way to become enlightened isn't getting rid of, and there's a lot of misinformation that they give out. They say, oh, you have to get rid of all your ego. No, that's actually not true. You have to get rid of what I call the negative aspects of ego. What do I mean by that? Jealousy, greed, lust, hate, loathing, judgment, you know, all of these sides of your ego that are really nasty. They're really bad. Those are the parts that you need to work on getting rid of. There's other parts of your ego that are necessary for you to survive on this planet. They're important, and they're an important part of being human and humanity. And so not all ego. I get so sick and tired of some of these religious teachings where they say, ooh, ego is bad, get rid of all ego. No, there's a difference between being an egomaniac, having too much ego or bad ego, and having healthy amount of ego. There's a healthy amount of ego that we need to have as a human to exist.
Yeah, and one part of ego I found interesting is the inability to share, like holding back and not interviewing people, not sharing information. That's something that I really try to avoid in my channel, and just interview people and share information, collaborate, because that's what helps us to get to know each other and do this stuff. Letting go of the inability to share, letting go of that egotistical aspect of that. Because what we do is the opposite of that, try to be the opposite of that. Sharing, kind, compassionate, helpful, helping to others. So.
And I've been trying to teach people since 1990, believe it or not, how to collaborate with each other, like how to I call it partnering, but collaborating and partnering with people, and even teams of people and groups of people, to work together to help humanity. Because if everybody all brings their gifts to the table and you all work together with the same goal of helping other individuals, it makes you that much more powerful and stronger when you're in a group, or even two or more, which is why in the Bible it says, where two or more are gathered in my name. You know, it's intention. When you put two people and you put the same intention between those people, it makes it way more powerful. That's why two people praying is powerful, two people intending, two people collaborating, anything like that. Because when it's just you and you're trying to fight everyone, then you're 100% in your ego again. And that's not good. You know, to me, letting go of ego is being able to embrace other people and work with other people in a complementary, you know, partnership kind of a way. That's, you know, embracing that, as opposed to embracing I'm just a badass that rules the world and everybody's going to listen to my ideas only and only work with me and I'm better than everyone else. You know, that's all ego. And it's like, I don't think I'm better than any other healer or any other spiritual person on this planet. I just think I have unique information and I'm unique from them, but I don't think I'm better than anybody.
Exactly. And sharing is caring. It's like we collaborate, we share, we pass it on, and people watch it and it gets passed on to other people, and the knowledge and the information. That's what it's all about. I just suddenly had another question that's not on the list. So you do the meditation and mindfulness instruction, but do you also channel with people in sessions?
So when I give a session to people, I actually have a menu of all the things I do on my website. It's on spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. And if they go to the private sessions page, I have a huge list. I scan people's energy for what density they're in. I scan their chakras. I tell them what chakras are at. I tell them why. I work on relationships, life problems, life purpose, teaching them esoteric and spiritual information if they want to know the answers to anything, like, why am I here? What's the purpose of the planet? What's, you know, basically can answer any kind of question, because I've been studying this information for 43 years of my life, like teaching people how to use crystals for healing. I do a lot of work with crystals. I do a lot of work with sound. Like I have my 528 hertz tuning fork, and I use drums, and I have another 528 hertz music thing that's coming because I use a lot of sound healing in my practice with people when I have to clear energy. So I do a lot of stuff like that. I also work on clearing blocks and contracts and past life stuff. and we work on, you know, protection and raising vibration and protecting people from, you know, other people's energies, and just, I mean, you name it, I can do all that stuff. So I have like a giant menu on my my website. So
Yeah, it's very similar to some of the things that I do as well. So I thought I should ask that question because you have psychically, I'm sensing you have a very interesting depth to you. So you're very multi-talented and capable. And I honestly, I didn't look at your website. I looked through the book and skimmed the chapters just to get an idea of who you are and what the book is about. I don't like to read all of a book when I interview somebody. I just like to see the highlights. So I don't know too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be back-ended with information because this is about you and you describing what your book is about and your strengths, because you wrote the book, not I. So I try not to know too much about a person or a book or what they did, because
that makes sense.
It's not my information. It's yours to tell and your story to share. So I do this on purpose with everybody. I try not to know as much as possible about you. So to me, you're almost like a blank slate.
Oh, that's awesome.
That way, I don't know too much. I don't have an advantage in these interviews at all.
Right.
And I just try to do all of them.
I think that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that you do that, because that's a really good, that's like more of, that's the way you're doing this is the way journalists should be. You know what I mean? You know, journalism has gone to hell. You know, all of the news is all run by people who aren't even good journalists. When I started in college back in I mean, this is aging me, but when I started in college in 1983, I was going to be a journalist. Okay. There was a famous reporter on the news named Connie Chung. I don't know if you remember her, but yeah. I wanted to be Connie Chung someday. Like, I wanted to be this journalist. And I wrote on my junior high newspaper. I'm a writer. I've been writing since I was a little girl. I started writing children's books when I was a little girl, and I just love to write. I write poetry. I write song lyrics, you know, just write. That's my thing. I've been writing blogs for the last 20 years and written for newspapers and written for magazines. But I started off as a journalism major in what we call investigative journalism, like the old fashioned form of journalism that they used to practice before the bad guys took over all the media. That's what you're doing. So you're doing more of this investigative stuff. You're coming in from, I don't know what's going on, I'm just going to ask all the questions. You know, it's a really good place to come in from. I love that.
Well, I looked when I look at books, I scan the chapters and the little information, like I read the beginning of the chapter so I understand what your book is about and what questions to ask you, but I don't read the whole thing. And this is what I was debating, because you've been the only one that asked me to be on a show to talk about a book. I've never had anybody like you on my show. So should I read the whole thing? But that would take too long, and I wanted to respond to you in a timely manner, to be respectful. I'm like, just read the chapter headings, the chapter descriptions, and, you know, like, I'm always curious about Ascension, and it's a topic that's on my mind. So I'm like, this is a good person to interview because the info in the book is interesting. So again, I don't like to be back-ended with too much information about a person. I don't need an advantage when I'm interviewing anybody. All I need is a little bit of info about you, and just, I scanned you to see what your energy is like, and you have pure energy. So, and it vibrates with mine. That's all. I do it with everybody who I'm wanting on the show to interview. If the energy is compatible, great, we do it. If not, then I just have to think about it. And that's honesty. That's really,
yeah, that's how I know you're the real deal, though, too, because a lot of people would never say that or even do that or think about it. So that shows what a real down to earth, you know, real light worker you truly are. I mean, you're truly a light worker, and there's 144,000 actual light workers on this planet, but then there's a lot of other people running around saying they're a light worker who aren't light workers. They're just saying it because it's the unfashionable thing to say, or they're saying it because they've been corrupted, or they're saying it for who knows what reason. But there's actually only 144,000 true light workers, and those are the people who came here who are working with the ET. We're all working with the ETs and the angelics and all that to usher in the new age and the age of Aquarius and 2,000 years of peace that's coming up here pretty soon.
And I mean, we collaborated with emails back and forth. You sent me a bio of who you are and a list of questions, and then I responded back. Well, I chose a few of your questions from the list, and I also tried to incorporate some of my own to make it a fair mix, and just to collaborate with you on how this interview would go. And I asked a few things not on the list, just intuitively. I knew you had something great to say about the info, so I'm like, can I ask you this? And you were so gracious. So it's like that openness and honest communication is what really matters to me. And this connection with you is, I feel the heart connection. So I really appreciate you reaching out to collaborate and interview with me and to describe your book. And how can people reach you if they would like to get in contact with you or do a session?
So the best way is my website, which is Spiritual Growth Journeys with an S on the end, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. And then also I have a YouTube channel. If you just look up Kimberly Palm YouTube, you'll find my YouTube channel. I've got, I think, 6 videos up there right now, but I plan on doing, it's very new. It's a very new channel. I have about 500 and something subscribers, but I plan to do, I'm going to do, I think, 4 videos this week or something. I plan to do like 1 or more videos like every week and load them up there, teaching about different subjects in spirituality and about ascension and about esoterics and metaphysics and, even health, like some health stuff and that type of thing. But you can find me there. You can also join my group on Facebook. It's called Spiritual Growth Journeys, just like my business and just like my website, but it's Spiritual Growth Journeys group on Facebook. You are welcome to request to join, and I will accept you into the group, and we post and you're able to post stuff and I post stuff all about spirituality that we can share with each other so we can all grow together on the journey. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Excellent. And I will include all your links in the video description for where people can get the book, where they can find your website. So I'll have that in the links.
Thanks. Yeah, the book's on Amazon worldwide, and it's called Ascension 101, A Roadmap for Your Soul. Actually, I'm going to show, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
That's what it looks like. Ascension 101, Roadmap for Your Soul. There's road with the sun. It's kind of hard here. There we go. Now you can get it all in there.
Yes.
But anyways, it's worldwide, which makes me so happy because I have clients all over the world, like even in Israel, which is really cool, and Middle East and Australia, just everywhere. I love my job. I love the fact that I get to help people all over the planet, which makes me so happy because the energy travels. Like when I'm doing energy work, people will say, they ask, how are you able to energy heal me when I'm 5 million miles away? And it's because we're all connected to the same source and we're all connected to the grid of the energy. So
yeah, there's no limit or boundaries to distance of energy. Energy flows and goes wherever it needs to heal you, to help you, to inspire you. There's no limitation. I'm like, can I ask another question just suddenly because we're talking about this? So if somebody contacts you and asks you, well, can you do an in-person session? What do you tell people when they ask you that?
Well, that would be hard because I live out in the country somewhere and I don't even live in their state in most cases because most of the people contacting me are not even in my state. So I'm not going to go fly to them. We're in this lockdowns kind of situation anyways with the, we have some sort of an illness that's going around. So I'm not traveling anywhere right now at all. I'm hiding in my house. Yeah. So that for right now with that thing that's going around, I'm not meeting in person with anyone. But then when that goes, my plan is, and I'm really excited about this, is taking my Ascension 101 Academy on the road and teaching workshops and conferences and seminars all over the world. And it's not going to be just me. I'm actually partnering with people like yourself. I might even talk to you about this later because I'm putting together a group of women who are healers and light workers, like a whole group of us, and we're going to all travel together and do workshop presentations.
Well,
so
I actually can't travel because of my own medical stuff. So
okay.
I'm in Canada, so I can't travel. I do things locally, but it's just personal health matters. So, but I'm always happy to collaborate with interviews like this and talk about whatever you want to put out there. Like if you have new information that you'd like to share, you're welcome to come on my show anytime. The reason I asked that question about in-person sessions is because I've been getting emails like, I want to come to your place to get healed. So I say I do online healing and I do online teaching about spirituality, channeling, whatever. So it's like, I've always done it this way. I've never done it in person.
Yeah, I've done it both ways. I've done both, always. I've always done either online, on the telephone, or in person, because my clients for the last, well, since 23 years ago, going back 23 years ago, my clients have been all over the country and the world. So, because I started doing counseling and consulting and stuff back 23 years ago. So I immediately was working with people like everywhere. So it was very rare that I met with people in person. It was very rare because most of the people who were coming to me were not coming to me from my local town. They were coming from, you know, everywhere else. But I mean, I've heard stories. I have friends who are in our industry who have like movie stars and celebrities and politicians and really wealthy people who they work with. And those people will fly them to their location and they'll, you know, or they'll come visit them. You know, in the future, you know, here's what I have to say. If there's somebody who has that kind of money and wants to fly to me, I will come and, you know, when all of the lockdowns go away and all this mess goes away that we, you know, that's happening when the planet is better, I would be happy to meet with somebody if they can afford, you know, to fly here. And, you know, I can always meet with them at a hotel or, you know, wherever in a you know, at a conference room somewhere or something. But you know, I'm not going to have them in my house because my business is in my house. And I just, that's like a big no-no with my family. My family does not accept that.
Well, there you go. Like we often might live with somebody else. We might have loved ones. So if we work from home, like most of us do in this kind of a business, whether it's something like it just feels good to us. Because again, energy flows where you need it to go. There's no boundaries, distance, whatever. It's long distance healing works.
Right.
It's even been proven scientifically that energy will heal no matter if you're like touching a person or if you're sending energy with your hands, focusing on what needs to be focused, where it needs to go into the body. So there's kind of like a misconception about if it's not in person, then it's not the same.
Yeah, well, there's a book they can read by Lynn McTaggart called The Field, or they can read that one called E Squared, and it's all energy, about energy, frequency, and vibration. Or you can study Greg Braden, who's all about science meeting spirituality and all about what we call quantum physics. So I studied the field of quantum physics for a while. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. We are, you are, the computer is, it's all made of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's what God is too. And the energy is all connected to what's called the field, the big main. We're all connected into the same source or the same field. And because of that, we can send stuff everywhere, which is why in the future, when we're all in this 5D thing, we'll be able to telepathically communicate with people on the other side of the planet. And, you know, I can talk to somebody in Russia and they will hear me. And the reason the Russians will hear me is because we're all connected to that same energy source. So it's going to happen soon. It's going to be very soon when we're able to do this.
I'm sure you can do that even now because you have the.
I'd have to work on it. I don't do telepathy. It's the one thing I don't do. However, I do kind of a form of it in a way, like I can sense when somebody's thinking about me, or sometimes they can sense when I'm thinking about them. So that's kind of a type of telepathy in a way.
Yeah, even the channeling, it's that connection with God, with Mary Magdalene, with Yeshua. It's sort of like a psychic telepathic connection
that's true
of itself, right?
Yes, that's true.
It's a source field connection, telepathic, whatever you want to call it. So
exactly, 100%, without a doubt. And then, you know, but the telepathy between humans is a little different, and it's because the energy flows differently. And, you know, when we're tapping in, like if you want to have a conversation with God or with Yeshua, the reason that it's easier to do that than it is for you and I to telepathically communicate is because they resonate at such a high vibration and such a high dimension that they're so powerful that they're able, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just a much more powerful source of energy. Our energy is not that. It's not up there. You know, we're not Christ. Yeah. You'd have to be at Christ consciousness level to be able to do that kind of magic. It's like magic, basically. Supernatural. It's very supernatural. Whereas humans, we're very basic creatures. And so the kind of telepathy we're going to do with one another is going to be just a different level of telepathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've studied white light Wicca magic, so, and I've taken psychic development. So for me, telepathically to send something to somebody who is on that same level as me is easy, just natural ability. It's innate that I've had it as a kid, but it did take work and practice to build it up. Not saying,
yes.
it's not a Christ level. I'm not Christ, but it's a above human average level of mind to mind speak. So
right.
somebody can send one thought or phrase or a word. I can maybe send a sentence or something or tell you, please call me now on the phone. I need to speak with you. Telepathically tell somebody that. Next thing I hear is my psychic friend calling me because I asked that for them to call because I want to speak. But I didn't want to just grab the phone and just call. I wanted them to hear me.
Right.
So just example of what you could do if you take it to that level.
I've actually done it a couple times. Like it's happened and I wasn't really trying hard. It's kind of interesting for me. It's when I'm not trying hard that it flows more easily. It's when I'm trying really hard to do it, it doesn't work. So it's kind of like the lack of trying seems to make it work better for me.
Yeah, but for me, I'm trained to just instantly be able to do it. Like, I don't try to do it. It's ingrained already because I've practiced trying to do it. That's why I could do it. So like always people ask me, well, how can I become what you are or what you are in your business? And I say, well, sometimes it's very innate and natural, and sometimes it's a latent ability you have that you'll have to put in the work and practice, take the courses to get that. I say it's never going to be on the same level as me, higher or lower, because you are you.
We're all unique. We're all unique. And also because like in your case, in my case, we were kind of born with this. So there's a difference between being born with some of the abilities and developing some of them later in life. And you can develop them. I always tell people, don't lose hope. You can totally develop them. It just takes effort and hard work and practice. It's really the practice every day, religiously practicing it, that's going to develop it more and more and more and more. So
this has created another question. Are we all born with these abilities that you and I have, or is it just like every person is born with something specific to them?
I call them gifts for a reason, because some of us have special gifts that we've just been given, that we were born with. And in some cases it's in the DNA, because my mother was psychic, my grandma was psychic, my great grandma was psychic, and it goes back hundreds of years in my family. So in some cases you're born in because it's in the DNA. But I think that we all have the pineal. All psychic ability comes from the pineal, which the pine cone statue is all over the Vatican. I've been to the Vatican twice. And the Catholic Church, the Vatican, knows all about our pineal. And that's where the gateway is to time travel. Like if you want to time travel, it goes right through your pineal. That's the gateway to time travel. I know because I do it a lot.
Me too.
And yeah, I time travel. I was in 1800s France recently. I mean, it was very cool. Everybody in their long dresses and their parasols and their fancy hats. And I mean, it was really cool. But, you know, and when I do that, they can't see me. I'm like a spectator. I'm just watching, like it's like a movie kind of a thing. But the thing is that we all have a pineal, we all have a third eye, and that's where all this psychic ability comes from. I just think with certain DNA people, okay, so my team's telling me it's a genetic thing, that some people are born with the instant abilities versus everybody else has latent ability, like they have it within them to develop, but it's been closed off because our pineals have been calcified by the Draco. They've purposely shut us down because at one point humans all could do this. So there was a point where humanity, all of humanity, could have these abilities, and we're talking telepathically, like during the times of Atlantis and stuff, everybody had all these abilities. You could transport and teleport and float and walk on water like Jesus and do all the stuff he did. And that was taken away from us. It was robbed, and we had our pineals calcified by the lead, by the mercury, by the aluminum that they dump into everything and have been dumping into everything for a very, very long time. Chemtrails being sprayed over our heads, that's full of stuff that calcifies your pineal. So they're blocking our abilities. So every human on this earth has the ability to do what you and I do. It's the ones who, like us, who are born with it, it's because it's a genetic kind of a thing. And we were given it's a gift that we were given immediately. So.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And for some of us, it's more pronounced. For some of us, it's more latent. And some of us have to work harder at it. And some of us have to work less at it to develop all these things.
Exactly. But I think we all have, I think every human, because this is what I was told by my team, every single human on earth, and even pets, have the ability to talk telepathy and to do all of these things. I have friends who are animal communicators who talk telepathically to animals all the time. They're really good at it, really adept.
Yeah.
And so pets do this kind of thing too, which is really cool and really kind of blows me away. But
yeah, I mean, people ask me, like, can you activate my psychic ability fully through the DNA infusion? And I sometimes say it depends on you, how latent it is or how pronounced it is. The DNA infusion can help you to activate it, but I can't teach you all in one day how to be psychic or how to be a channeler. That takes time to learn, to work those abilities. It's like, I was never taught to channel, honestly. It just comes naturally to me. Nobody taught me.
Me too. It just started. I wasn't taught either. I just started hearing stuff one day. Or my mouth started opening and I started speaking.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started hearing the heavenly choir. That was really cool. One time I was in my pantry and my children were little babies. Now they're 20 and 22. But when they were babies, I started hearing the heavenly choir. It was the coolest thing ever. And then I was hearing them from that point on. And I haven't heard them in a little while now because I've been too busy focusing on other things. But there was a while where I was always hearing the heavenly choir. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, for me, I never had a channeling manual to learn from, but people ask me all the time, how can I learn to channel? How can I instantly channel? I mean, if it's a nat and you just do it naturally, that's what you do. But if you need to learn it and practice it, there are people who teach this stuff. Do you teach channeling?
I don't teach channeling per se. What I teach is I teach people how to connect and how to open their psychic abilities. I teach that, and I also have a protocol for it. To decalcify the pineal gland. So like anybody who's listening to this, if they want a pineal decalcification protocol, I have a 3-page protocol. If they follow the instructions, that will help over time to get rid of all of the calcification of their pineal so they open their third eye so they can start experiencing psychic powers. Because once all of us decalcify our pineals, and everybody will have more of these abilities. And then once they decalcify it, then all they have to do is learn to sit quietly in meditation every day and focus their efforts on stuff. Like I have friends who learned how to bend spoons. What do they call that? Is that telekinesis? It's when you bend, move things. I think it's telekinesis.
It's a little bit, it's called something else. Telekinesis is when you lift things with your mind, like floats.
Okay.
It's in the back of my head, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah, so anyway, so you can actually teach people how to bend spoons. Like I have friends who've learned to do it, who had no psychic powers whatsoever, but they just learned to focus and concentrate. They decalcified their pineal enough. And then they focused and concentrated on bending metal, and now they're bending metal and they're freaking people out like crazy. And, you know, so it's something that everybody can do. And I just want everybody to know that this is not like, I'm not special. Ileana is not special. We're not like more important than you, than other people or anything. It's just that we happen to be born and have some of these gifts, and then other people have to develop them. But the truth is every person has the potential to do this. Every person.
Well, I mean, I was born with it, but I never thought I'd become a healer and a psychic and a channeler. It just came as a second career because of something else that happened in my life.
Me too.
So it wasn't planned. It wasn't like calculated that I'd be doing this. It never was. I was just interested in healing and in psychic stuff. So I took the courses to develop my natural ability to a higher level of what I wanted to do. But then it became a career at one point. So it's not what you plan for. It just sometimes what's meant to be in life, it is.
Well, I didn't plan for it. I was actually in sales and marketing for many, many, many years. And what happened to me is I started studying all this stuff, you know, when I was little, and I studied how to heal the body. I was misdiagnosed by doctors when I was 34, and that was my wake up that doctors don't know what they're doing. So I started studying how to heal your body, been studying natural medicine for, you know, 34 years. And what happened is in 2009 or so, I had my I had Yeshua like literally show up for the, you know, first time and tell me, he literally showed up and said that my purpose on earth was to be a spiritual teacher and a healer. And that's why I came. And I had no clue about that. I really didn't even know about that. He told me. He's the one who told me. He said that you're here to be a spiritual teacher and healer. And then he said, I need you to get to work now. I need you to start doing this work. And then I went to school and got all kinds of certifications. I got certified to be a mindfulness and meditation instructor, and went to Reiki school, and went to studied quantum touch, studied Qigong, studied chakra balance, you know, studied all these different things, and then started my business and started working on healing people. And I'd already been kind of life coaching people, not purposely, but since I was 12. So people started attracting to me like a magnet when I was a teenager, and I would be advising everybody. I've always been an advisor, but it wasn't something I saw myself as. Like, it's not something I wanted to do as a career or that I purposely put my intention on. It just that I naturally would it would just happen. You know, it's spontaneous. So people would like show up and they'd need help, or they'd come to me with all their problems. Like when I was a teenager, all the other teenagers always had all these issues, and they came to me with all their issues, and I would, you know, just help them. And like, I had one friend who got pregnant out of wedlock by a 35-year-old, and she was like 14 or something like that. And, you know, that kind of stuff would happen. And was counseling her, and, you know, but I never thought, oh, I'm going to be a counselor when I grow up, or I'm going to be a counselor someday, or I'm going to be a healer. It just happened. Like, it just always kind of happened. So.
And people want to know how you do it. Can I do it? If you want, you can do anything you want. I think you and I put in the hard work to better these abilities and raise the vibration to the quality where it's at. I don't think I have the abilities, but it wasn't instant magic. Like I could just be a healer instantly. It was learning how to do it too, and hard work. So, because I get those emails constantly. I want to be psychic now. Like, give me a DNA infusion, open me up, and let me go do the work. The DNA infusion can help you to open you up to it, but it's still up to you to how much of it you do and how little of it you can do. Up to you.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the question that always comes up in every email about psychic stuff. I want to be a psychic. I want to be a Reiki healer. A woman asked me, like, so I just put my hands out and I send the energy healing and I'm a Reiki healer. I'm like, no.
No, it's not that easy.
No, you could do this, but you're just holding out your hands. To learn Reiki, you have to learn how to literally channel the energy where it needs to flow in the body.
You become a channel.
Yeah, to heal chakras. Like, you don't just point out your hands and say I'm a Reiki practitioner. It's not how it works. Just an example of what I had. And honestly, this person is trying to understand what that is, but it's not doing this.
Right. Well, and then I've met people who are who are like Christian people, who they lay their hand on somebody and the person has a spontaneous, miraculous healing. Like, I've met those people. You know, they can do that. They literally lay their hand on somebody and the person gets healed. You know, that it happens.
Yeah. And well, I mean, when I do this with my hands, I know how to send the energy out to the person to heal them, like to channel that energy specifically in a body part, in an organ, to help facilitate the healing. But to people who don't know how to flow energy somewhere, this is just hands. Like, your hands transmit energy, but you have to know how to focus that energy to send it.
We have to know how to focus it. The other thing is they have to know how to actually feel the energy. Yeah. So like, just if I put my hands like that, I'm not necessarily feeling any energy. You have to learn how to feel the energy. If you can't feel energy, then you can't flow the energy, and then it's just a moot point.
Yeah. So
we have to learn. And I teach classes on this, and I teach clients and people how to do this. And in the future, I'm going to be doing that in person, hopefully, you know, going around teaching basic energy kind of classes, teaching people what energy is, how to utilize it, how to raise their own energy vibration, how to feel the energy in their hands to start doing healing on themselves and others if they want to. I'm not going to teach them Reiki per se. I'm just going to teach them the do's and don'ts about energy, just energy. So, yeah.
Reiki is like 4 manuals, and it's
a lot of work. Well, they've got level 1, level 2, level 3, master, it's 4 whole levels if you go up all the way up, but and it's a lot of work. You have to read a lot, you've got to practice, it takes practice, and just because you get that certificate saying you're a Reiki practitioner, to me, you're still really not one until you've actually gone and done it on a certain number of people.
Yeah, and I mean, in my energy healing, I use the basic tenets of Reiki and how to flow that energy, but I've gone beyond that and incorporated my own way of energy healing for people. But again, it's an act to me, and it's an act to how I've kind of changed it up somewhat that works better for me than just practical normal Reiki. It's beyond Reiki now. So I think for you as well, how you do it, it's beyond the standard Reiki of what we were taught, right? Because it's unique to you how you flow your energy and how you teach people how to do that.
It is. And so, what's interesting about this is I know so many Reiki practitioners. I know a lot of Reiki practitioners, and every one of them has a unique style of doing it, even though they all went to the same kind of schools. Like they all maybe did a Sui Reiki. So I went to a Sui Reiki school, okay, which is US, right? Yeah, that's what I did. And the lady who trained me, she's actually a nurse, and she trains nurses all over the country how to use Reiki on their patients, which I think is just amazing. I love that. But every Reiki practitioner I've ever met has their own little unique spin. And then even like my best friend, Sarah, she has a whole new form of Reiki that she's created called quantum light Reiki. And it's like a whole different spin on Reiki altogether. And I have a lot of friends who are Reiki practitioners who have taken it and they've one-upped it, like they've made it their own, and they've added things in and they've switched it around. And it's kind of fascinating how you can do that,
Well, once you're certified in it and you've done it for a number of years, or you've had enough practice, you do modify it for how your energy flows and what healing you want to incorporate into it. You can do crystal healing, you can do tuning forks with it. So you could do anything with it.
Singing bowls.
Yes, singing bowls, definitely. So
yeah, and essential oils too. You can use essential oils.
Oh yeah, you could do Reiki massage as well. So you can change it up. Once you're certified and you know what you're doing, you can incorporate other things into it that make it extra special for you and your clients and the healing.
Right.
Because you said you're a Reiki practitioner, so I just wanted to get your take on it. And
well, and I did all that because I had a healing business for 7 years. I did that. But again, it really sucked a lot of my energy. I didn't make any money at all. Everybody wanted free. And it was just draining me and draining me and draining me. And I was getting nothing back. And it was causing problems in my marriage and everything because it was just a nightmare. So I was told, that I went through that to kind of see, it was kind of like a hat I tried on to see what it felt like to do. But it's not really my true lifelong purpose or mission of why I'm here. I'm really here as a spiritual teacher, and that's it. I'm not here to heal people. They need to heal themselves. I'm here to teach them how to connect so they can get the healing. I'm really here to teach them the basic spiritual practices, just the basic stuff, and really connecting into their own higher guidance so they can do their own healing or be led to Reiki or do whatever it is that they need to do. But I had to try that costume or that hat on to see what it felt like,
Oh, and I do both of those jobs, honestly, but it's nothing as much as we want things to be for free. The way things are set up with Cabal and everything, there's a financial exchange for goods and services, and it's not for free. Like I always say to people, nothing is truly for free on this planet, not yet.
No.
So,
no.
I mean, what do you do with that? You learn to adapt to it, and you don't feel guilty about charging for your services as long as it's reasonable. So I don't feel guilty about it. You don't, because
I used to, but not anymore, because I realized that you have to have balance in your life. You have to give and receive, and you can't just give of yourself. Like I have people who are really nasty who make remarks on my videos or wherever saying that I'm ripping people off because I charge for my services. It's like, okay, so if they're going to go have their tires changed, are they going to do that for free? Are they going to go to the doctor for free? Are they going to go to the mental health counselor for free? Are they going to go to the grocery store for free? No, I am offering a service and I have bills to pay. I have to pay for my website. I have to pay for my cell phone. I have to pay my electricity bill. I have to, pay for food and to survive. So I need to earn an income. At the same time, I'm earning an income by being of service to humanity and helping people. It's just the way I chose, to do this,
Exactly. And we're honestly discussing this because it's part of the work. It's just something. We're our own secretaries. We don't have anybody booking sessions.
I have nobody working for me. I'm booking all my clients myself. I mean, I'm up sometimes till 2 a.m, like catching up with emails and answering questions. I get berated with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions all the time. Yeah. And I'm spending hundreds of hours, and my husband's yelling at me and saying, for the little amount of money I charge per session, he said, if you look at the amount of hours that you're actually working and helping people and divide it into how much money you're making, I'm making like a few bucks an hour, because I'm like spending tons of hours just answering people's questions out there and helping people and inspiring people and posting on social media and making videos and educational information to just help. Like I'm already donating so much of my energy and time for free that I need to get something back, and I need to get paid, to pay the bills. So
it's just part of the reality here. And how do you decide on which emails to answer and which ones to not?
Right. I have a hard time with it. I really do. I mean, I try to ask my team, like, okay, so I had an email today from somebody who is what I call a super negative energy vampire. And this guy wants a session with me. But if I get a session to him, I'm going to be so drained, because this person is immediately from the get-go, out of the gate, he was already insulting me. And he was already like really, really fear-based, like super fear-based. And so I sent him a really quick message saying, I don't think I'm the right person to work with you. I mean, sir, and I said, I wish you much love and luck on your journey, blessings. I'm not the right, because, this kind of stuff happens, I get emails from all kinds of people, but they're not necessarily people I should be working with, because they're not all healthy for me to work with. And I have to protect my own body, mind, and spirit, and not be made sick and not be drained and not be,
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes I get very weird emails or accusatory things that I just don't answer. I put those in my spam. As much as I'd like to answer everybody, it's impossible, because some questions that I get, when will the holographic medical pods be available?
Oh, I get that every day, right? The med beds. And then they ask me who's going to win the election. And I'm like, I'm not answering that. I don't talk about politics at all. I do not discuss that.
Honestly, you're not going to get an answer from me about that email. I'm not even going to answer those emails anymore. I've said it on my show 1,000 times. I don't have access to the med beds, to the holographic medical pods. I cannot facilitate that for you. That's about as far as I go. And people want to send me emails, I'm not going to respond to that anymore. You won't get an answer. Same with the election. Can you psychically tell me who's going to win the election? No, I won't, because that is a useless waste of my ability and time. Whoever wins the election wins it, whether square and fair or not. That's politics. I'm not going into that.
Well, I have people who message me and want me to get demons out of their house and ghosts out of their house. I don't do that. I'm not a psychic medium. I know how to do it for myself. If I'm in that situation, I can do it for myself, but that's not my job. And that's not what I'm here to do. That's just not who I am. And so my best friend does that. And then I have several other friends who do that. They are psychic mediums, and they do clear ghosts and demons out of houses. And that's their job. That's what they're here to do. That's not what I'm here to do. And then I have people wanting me to talk to their loved ones that have passed over, and they want to know about their loved one. And I feel my heart goes out to them, because it's like, I'm an empath and I'm really compassionate. And it's like, I understand where they're coming from, but that's just not, I don't do that thing. I'm here as just a spiritual teacher. I'm here to teach people how to have a happy, healthy journey, you know, how to connect to God, how to have a wonderful journey, how to heal their body, that kind of thing. I'm not here to teach them. You know, I'm not here to talk to their dead grandma or whatever. That's just not, you know, it's not what and I don't want to do that. Honestly, I really don't want to do that.
No, I do that. I don't do house cleanses. I don't go to people's houses to cleanse them of demons or entities, but I do entity attachment removal from the person themselves and the soul. That's easy enough to do for me. But again, like you said, with some people you're meant to work with them and some not. And some emails I refuse to even answer about the med beds. I've said it enough times. I only operated them on Mars. I didn't even get to go into one. So honestly, I don't have the schematics. I can't make it for you and I can't give you access. Sorry, not gonna happen. Energetically, I could facilitate healing and to make you feel a little better and happier, but that's about all that I can do with my innate ability. I'm not a med bed. And I don't claim to be, so just some emails, I guess, take responsibility for what you want to answer and what you don't.
Yeah, my problem that I've had my whole life is I'm a people pleaser. I'm like a Labrador retriever. I just want everybody to be happy. So I have to really rein in my energy and have really healthy boundaries, because otherwise everybody would just suck me dry, because I'm a really loving, kind, compassionate person. And I've had to really learn to, you know, take a chalk and write a line and then not, you know, they're not crossing this line, you know, I'm going to walk the line. And it's like, because you have to have the boundaries, or you literally will be drained to pieces. It'll make you sick. You can't be everything to everyone. You just can't. And I used to want to do that so bad. And then I you know, you go through a spiritual maturity where you go through these different phases. I used to be in a phase where I just wanted to heal the world. And then now it's like, I just want to heal the few people who resonate with me, you know, the people who are meant to come to me for my highest good and their highest good, you know, where I'm going to benefit them and I'm going to help them, but it's also beneficial for me because it's not going to drain me and it's not going to harm my family, or, you know, it's going to be beneficial for me too. So, you know, I've kind of set up that parameter now that no, I'm not going to be able to heal the planet because I have my sisters like you and my best friend Sarah and all these other sisters that I have, that we're all working together here on the planet to heal the planet. And we all put in our little contribution here and there and everywhere, but it's not me, just me all by myself, the superhero person. I'm not going to just go heal the planet. I can't do that.
It takes a team to heal the planet. I don't claim I can heal all of the world all at once. I could time travel and do portions of timeline alteration. Like
I do too. I've collapsed several. I've collapsed probably several over the last several years. I've collapsed probably several hundred timelines.
And I've changed
bad ones.
I mean, the 2016 election, I changed that in the US because it was meant to be the Blue Scorpion Queen, but it was a feisty, loudmouthed guy who won because the Scorpion Queen would have caused World War III in a timeline that I saw. So my team said, don't let her win, change it and let this brash guy do it, but he won't cause World War III. I don't want to mention names in politics. I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've already been told who's winning and why they're winning, and let's just say it's Team God.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not changing anything in this election cycle because I'm not picking up World War III from either of the men who are running for president. So I'm not picking up that either of them would do something horrid to destroy North America. Not picking up anything like that from either of them. All of them have their own whatevers. So whatever it'll be. I'm not messing with this election. But the last time I did change that timeline, he won because of the team and what they asked. And I'm sure other light workers were changing the timeline as well to what I was doing.
We were all working on it because I helped work on that too, because I was shown that if she was president, it was going to be New World Order, massive nuclear war, all kinds of horrible, I was shown all kinds of horrible things as well.
Same.
So I'm in agreement with that 100%.
Yeah. I'm not picking any of that up from the two people running this time. So I'm not going to go change it just because I want somebody else in that seat.
I'm not worrying about it at all. I have no fear because I've already been given like future visions of, I actually had several future visions of myself going up and getting a certain person's autograph after the fact and all kinds. I mean, I've already seen like things happening, and then again, it's team God. It's God wins, because that's who wins this whole apocalyptic thing that's going on, is God.
Well,
so
exactly. And I don't know who won this election. It's about that time actually. So
yeah, it's 4:04 p.m. my time right now.
So yeah. So are you in Pacific time? Okay, interesting. I don't even know where you are, Canada or States.
Oh, so I'm in I'm like close to Idaho in the United States. So yeah, like on the border of Idaho. And
I'm in Canada, so but I guess last election what you and I saw really made me change a timeline, because I was asked by my positive team to do it, and I saw the benefit of it. And I did it, but I don't always mess around with timelines or time travel.
Yeah, I've just been, not just me, but a whole bunch of my friends since 2012. We've all been working really, really hastily to collapse what we call the negative timelines, to get it down to 0 point, which is the ascension timeline. So we would just want this one ascension timeline where the Earth ascends. And so we've been getting rid of like the nuclear war, the New World Order one, the you know, upload your consciousness to a computer one, you know, all these different like crazy ass timeline. Oh, there's been alien invasion timelines that I've seen that I've collapsed, where bad ETs were actually like blowing everybody up, kind of like in that movie War of the Worlds. Like I've seen those timelines. Those have all been gotten rid of.
Well, it's quite interesting. There was a person on Facebook who proposed that me and my friends do a parody of the alien invasion and them blowing up buildings and stuff, that this is be done in a kind of like a parody of acting that out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. You're ignorant.
Well, you'll manifest that. So whatever we create, like when Hollywood creates those movies, it's a Luciferian, a dark magic spell that they use to create it in the real world. Because then so think about this, if they put a movie up where everybody's focusing on ETs blowing up the planet, they can create that event. Because we're manifestors, we're manifesting. And so everything that we focus our attention on, which is part of my teachings with my clients, is all about your mind, because I was a stress reduction expert for a while. And it's all about your mind, what you do with your mind and all the little things going on in there. But whatever you put your intention and focus on, you create that. So if you have 20 million people who all watch this one movie that shows this one timeline and everyone focus on it, it actually makes it happen.
Yeah.
So it's really bad.
I mean, I had an argument with this person, like, don't associate my name with that kind of a suggestion. I don't feel it. I don't want to be part of it. And then at the end, he called me a crackpot. I didn't mention your name.
Sounds like he's the one who's the crackpot.
Well, I told him, he told me, dude, chill out. I said, well.
What is he, 20?
No, this person is much older than that, from what I understand from my other friend whose post this was on. But I said, you know what, grow up and mature up, please. Don't call me names. It's rude.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to have an argument with this person, but when they're like, I don't even care what you're saying, I don't care. Like, well, ouch, you don't care about people. So it was a commentary that my friend deleted afterwards because it was on her thread. But just as an example, like this person was like, we should do a parody about aliens invading the world and like aliens coming down on us in a fake invasion. So this fake invasion, I've heard it from so many people now. I'm like, why?
So let me tell you what the fake invasion is. That's a false flag that the cabal was trying to do. If they didn't get their way, they had actually planned that, to do that. They may still plan it. They may still do it because they're doing what they call their last ditch efforts to hold on to their grip, and everything that's going on the planet is all it's all third density. It's kind of like a roost because the light's already won. And so this is just a bunch of crap that's playing out in the third density like screen. But we don't want to give any attention to it because we don't want to make it, you know, the deal. And so we don't want to make it real, like real. But apparently they had planned an alien invasion, you know, fake alien invasion, because aliens would not really invade us.
No.
Because the Galactic Federation of Light is in control of everything right now. So they wouldn't be able to do that. But the Cabal was going to do a fake alien invasion because they have our military and what they call the military industrial complex has all kinds of starships and things like Star Wars technology and all that kind of stuff. So they have all of the stuff that they could use to create a phony invasion. They have it all. You know, and Russia too, all these countries, Japan, all these countries, they all have ships. They all have their own little ET looking kind of ships that they can use to create this. So that was part of their plan. But from what I've been told, it's most likely not going to happen. But there is always a possibility that they do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, there's no reason for any ET species to invade us and take our resources, because we're polluting our planet, we're damaging our world. Like, our world is not something ETs would be even remotely attracted to taking over the way it is now. It's not attractive.
It's disgusting. It's a disaster. You know, they don't, they have nothing to gain. I mean, the reptilian ones, what they've been gaining is for 11,500 years, they've been eating humans. We're their food. Yeshua told me we're their cattle ranch. So they've been munching on us for 11,500 years. That's why, and the kids and babies are the most, that's why all the children are trafficked. Some of them are trafficked because all these bad guys worship Satan and Moloch and Baal, and that's like the god of pedophilia and child sacrifice. So they do some of that for their rituals to conjure demons and to do black magic and all that. And then there's all of these wackos that are addicted to the adrenochrome stuff and all that kind of thing. But the negative ET reptilians that have been here, they actually eat human flesh. We're their food, and we're like their cattle ranch. So they just pick us off whenever they want. Like, people go missing in national parks, and people go missing here and there, and people think, oh, and they're never found. Their bodies are never found. Children go missing all over the world and never get seen again, and by the millions, you know, 9 million kids or something like that every year worldwide. I mean, it's just insane. And babies, they eat them. It's, you know, that's what they do.
And all of this is underground. They get taken underground. It's not on the surface.
No, not on the surface. It's underground.
And I mean, some of these reptilians, they're energy draining vampires. They don't.
Yeah, they drain. Well, they do that to the kids too. So they torture them and they cause fear, and then they drain their energy. They put them into that fear, fight or flight mode with torture, and then they drain their energy. And then I mean, it's just horrible. When I first found out about this, I cried like there's 2 months in a row when I first found out about all this, that I was sick. I was so sick. My stomach was sick. My heart hurt. I had to have God like do an intervention on me, because I was just being made sick by all of this, because I love children so much. I've been teaching. I have 2 kids of my own. I can't wait to be a grandma someday. I love little babies and children so much. I love animals. The thing that I love is animals, and then babies and children, way before adult humans ever. Like, I don't even like adult humans. I just like children and animals, because they're just love. They're just unconditional love. And children are just innocent. And the thing is, when I found out about all that happening, I was terribly sick. I was so sick. And I'm still working on it. Like, I still have to, you know, really not focus on it. You know, I have to kind of like gaze it over. Like, I'll read something somebody will send me about it, and I just kind of go, okay, whatever. And I kind of move it out of the way, because if I start to really focus on it, it literally makes me sick, like really, really, really sick. So it's just awful. But I am so grateful to God that all this is going away soon. And I've been promised that all the tunnels have been cleared. I've been told they've been cleared out, that they're empty now. I don't know if that's true, because I can't guarantee it, and I'm not there to inspect them and look at them. But I've heard from people in the know that most or all of them are cleared out.
What I've heard is that a lot of it is still there, somewhat. So it's done in layers, dismantled in layers. So It's still an imperfect world. I mean, I was one of those kids that had been abducted by reptilians, and my autoimmune was damaged by them because they infested me with nanotech. But I survived it. I mean, they didn't eat me. They didn't even drain my energy. They just experimented on my body. So there's the third type of reptilians that do experiments on you and stuff. So,
and the Greys too. The Greys have been experimenting, and then those mantids too. There's like
there's all types, and but again, it's an imperfect world. So ETs are hidden among us, and they do these weird, nasty things because they are hidden. You don't see them, so they get to play like they want to play. But I think we've covered so much today, and I'm so thankful for you. We've done 2 hours, so I think we've covered.
I can't believe 2 hours went by. I've had so much fun chatting with you today that it's like I keep looking down in the corner and going, oh my God, where's the time?
Well, when there's important subjects to discuss, I think it just needs to come out and be said. So I think we're very good for what we've covered today, and I'm very grateful for you for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm so grateful and honored to be in your presence, and grateful for you and all the work you're doing on this planet and your beautiful energy and everything. And just, it's funny because I look at you and you look very ET, like you don't look human. Like I can see your ET, like I can just see you, like, you know, who you are. And yeah, you're definitely a starseed.
Well, you have interesting features as well, like of ETs, more like Pleiadians, I think, right?
I'm from Sirius.
Sirius. Okay, so close. Like you just you both of us have that facial characteristics, so that tells us of ET heritage and stuff. So it's like because when you sent me the book, I didn't look at the back of the bio. So at first I had no idea what you looked like. So then I did look at your picture and I'm like, she reminds me of an ET race. Her characteristics are just so interesting. Facial stuff. So it's like there's certain essence of you that shows in your face of the ET heritage.
Yeah, I came from before I embodied human. Well, I've only been on Earth in a body 7 times. This is my 7th lifetime in an actual physical body. But before I came here, I was in Sirius star system. So yeah, but I was here. I was in Atlantis once. I was in Lemuria twice. I was in ancient Egypt. I've been in the rainforests, you know, in a life. I've been a druid priestess in a couple of lives. I was killed as a witch a couple times.
Got that one too? Once. So thankfully. Well, I mean, even those past life experiences sort of make us what we are today. And I mean, I wanted to study magic again because I'm a hereditary witch, so it's just
I studied a little because, well, I'm Scorpio and we're always interested in the occult, you know, so I actually studied Wicca stuff when I was a teenager. I was really into it. And I still incorporate little bits and aspects of Wicca, like for protection and stuff, into what I do. And I'm very attached to Mama Gaia. You know, I'm very connected to the earth and to all of the animals and the trees and the energy of the earth, which is very Wiccan. It's a very Wiccan thing because it's a nature religion, which people don't understand that Wicca, they think it's like, ooh, it's dark witchcraft. No, there's black magic, dark witchcraft, and then there's Wicca and Wicca. All of my friends who've ever been Wiccans are really beautiful people. In fact, a lot of them were Christians, you know, they were Christians too, and they were Wiccans because Wiccan is more of like what the Native Americans kind of practice, because it's more of a nature. It has to do with our connection to nature and to the seasons and to the cycles on the planet. It's more connection to Gaia, to Mama Gaia. You know?
Oh, I'm also a Native American shaman. So
I was trained. I went through level 1 Native American shaman training too. So I did all that.
I did the 3 levels, but the 4th one was about going to helping people to pass on in hospitals and hospices.
That's such hard work. I would not be able to do that work. I would lose my cookies. I mean, I'd be just like crying my eyes out. I could not do it.
Yeah, I mean,
too empathic. Way too empathic.
The 4th level, I decided not to go there because honestly, I'm not a person who likes to go to hospices or hospitals at all unless I have to for something health-wise. Otherwise, you'd never see me in a place like that. And kudos to those who do that work, because it's very important.
Oh my gosh, I have so much respect for, I know several women who do that, and I don't know how they do it. Like, to me, they're my hero. You have to be, because I'm just so empathic. Like, when I watch a commercial for St. Jude's Research Hospital with the little kids with cancer and stuff, I just lose it every time. I just start bawling. I just can't, I'm so empathic. I can't handle anyone suffering. Like, I just don't like to see, I don't like to see people suffering. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work helping somebody to pass on, knowing that any moment they'll leave. And that's something that I just can't oversee or do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sensed when people are about to pass, and I usually don't tell them. I just don't interfere in that. And I wouldn't want to help cross over. I know it's an important job to do. It's just not something I feel called to do in my work. So, but I mean, we all are trained in little aspects of that stuff. We know how it works, but we just are not focused on doing that, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, kind of like, the healing. I'm not supposed to do the hands-on healing on people anymore, with the exception of my family. I can do it for my family, but I can't do it for strangers anymore. I'm just too empathic. So I have to really, really roll back all of that kind of stuff, and protect my energy so I can be here for generations to come to teach people. Because I had an epiphany or a download recently that part of why I'm going to be here in the future is to work with children and to work on the spiritual aspect with children. Because I used to help in the school with my kids all the time. I started assisting in preschool, and I taught first and second graders at the Catholic Church because I was Catholic most of my life. So I was teaching first and second graders in the Catholic Church with, religious education and stuff, and getting them ready for First Communion. And I've always had a heart for working with children, and teenagers too. I love working with teenagers so much. Teenagers they make me happy because they're so bubbly and, they're so full of life. They have like so much going on and so much to look forward to. And so I had this, I was laying in bed and I was talking, and I was shown kind of like visions and information, and got a download that I'm going to actually in the future be doing a lot of work with children. And I'm really excited about that. So that's where I'm going. So yeah, I'll still be working with adults too, but I will also have like a ministry, if you want to call it a spiritual ministry for children, and teaching them about God and teaching them how to connect with source and all that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I don't work with children. I work primarily with adults, but we all have our resonance and what we resonate with, and the importance of that. So I think it's what we're called to do on our mission. That's what we do. And I think it's beautiful. I'm thankful for you and me and this beautiful show today that we got to cover so many topics.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Yeah. So I think it's good at this point, and thank you so much again.
Thank you too. I'm honored again to do this with you. Thank you. And I'll have to interview you next time for my YouTube channel.
Sure. Looking forward to it. So have a good day, and
you too.
I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, keep in touch, please.
Bye.
Bye.